Hi guys and welcome back to another edition of Chiki series. Even with the gory size of people drowning in the Mediterranean Sea, torture and selling of migrants into slavery for cheap labor in Libya, most obstinate African youths are bent on embarking on this precarious journey of crossing the desert. Sahara Desert is the hottest desert in the world and is mainly rocky, has large areas covered with very high sand dunes, dry valleys and dry lakes. This is a 50-50 journey of life and death involving lots of agony, intimidation, suffering and slavery. It does not worth signing up your line for. You might not have the best job prospects in your country, but remember that your freedom matters a lot. Living illegally in another country comes with a variety of restrictions, such as little or no access to public health systems, education, banks, and proper housing, as well as risk of being detained and deported. Other problems faced by illegal migrants include modern-day slavery for cheap labor, prostitution, exploitation, kidnapping, and ransom, injury, illness, and in some cases, death. Without valid document of any destination country, permission to work becomes difficult. There is also language barrier due to the fact that different countries speak different languages. The International Organization for Migration data have shown that migrants come from different parts of Africa, mostly West African countries, such as Nigeria, Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, Gambia, and others, through Libya across Mediterranean Sea to Europe. There are lots of dangers and problems encountered by illegal migrants plying this route. On the road, there can be robbery, violence, motor accidents, and sexual abuse for females. While in the desert, the dangers are enormous, including death due to extreme temperature, dehydration, and starvation. The traffic make their ways from their respective states to Kano State by road. According to CNN, Edo State is Nigeria's trafficking hub and one of the African largest departure points. Benin City is the capital of Edo State. The population of the entire state is 8 million people with four major ethnic groups, mainly Edo, also known as Benis, Ishan, Onwan, and Esako. The migrants coming from Edo State take off from Auchi to Kano, from where they move to Zanda, the second largest town in Niger, which is 240 kilometers north of Kano, then to Agadez, located at the southern edge of Sahara Desert in north-central Niger. In Agadez, they stay for 3 months or more before crossing the lonely desert to Saba, then to Tripoli, both in Libya. After spending several months in Libya, they got on inflatable or wooden boats, braving the violent tides of Mediterranean Sea and sailing across to Europe. Different stages of travel expose the traffic to series of serious commitments ranging from huge cost of travel expense to extortion and exploitation, which most often lead to loss of lives. The female traffickers or sponsors, commonly addressed as madams, require that their victims undergo some oath taking to be assured of them paying off their costs on getting to Europe. This eventually turns the victim into the bondage of being a sex slave. The victims of this potentially deadly smuggling trade are usually naive, ill-educated, or poor people. Human trafficking is an illegal business. Due to this, the madams require that an oath is taken in a juju shrine so that the gods can revenge if the victim refuses to pay off the debt. Juju is an element of African traditional religion, which some people regard as voodoo or black magic. All these sacrifices are performed using bizarre items such as animal blood, cowries, sometimes body parts of the victim, including pubic hair, nails, and strands of hair. Out of desperation, the victims and their family agree with the sponsors to participate in this process that will turn them into sex slaves for their sponsors on getting to Europe. Most often, the madams are the old retired prostitutes engaging in illegal dirty trafficking business of shipping girls overseas for their own economic gains. They can charge huge amounts of money, ranging from 35,000 to 45,000 euros, equivalent of 15 to 20 million Nigerian naira for each person. However, this does not cover for the pay-as-you-go expenses incurred during the journey. Agadez. This is widely known as desert highway to Europe and has been a migration hub for centuries. It is also a base of human trafficking in the middle of Sahara Desert, and its economy is based on illegal activities. In 2016, the government of Niger cracked down on trafficking and smuggling business, making it illegal with 5 years imprisonment. They seized hundreds of migrant trucks and arrested dozens of traffickers. As a crucial stop, buses arrive offloading migrants from different countries in Africa. The middlemen pick them up from the bus station and set up the compounds in ghetto where they wait for a word from their handlers while praying for safe journey. Migrants stay up to 3 months in Agadez before embarking on the perilous journey of crossing the Sahara Desert. Accommodation can cost about 10 to 25 CFAs monthly to rent a room. The language spoken here is Hausa, with French language serving as an official language. Most women take to prostitution to pay the accommodation and also settle part of their travel costs, while others can be abused sexually. Due to financial pressure, a high percentage of these women engage in unprotected sex, thereby risking their life to contracting sexually transmitted infection and possibly HIV. The journey of 1,500 kilometers across one of the harshest environments in the world. Crossing desert mountains in strong desert winds, sometimes the truck breaks down in the middle of nowhere with no technician for repairs. It used to be an organized migration on an epic scale with military and police escort in exchange for money to protect the migrants from bandits and robbers. With government crackdown, soldiers now control Sahara. And knowing the springs where the migrants stop and the mountain path they cross, arresting of migrants becomes easy. Every week, over 2,000 migrants leave Agadez through the desert to Libya. The smuggling convoy departs every Monday with 25 to 35 migrants crammed on the back of a pickup hilux, clinging.
This is the much talked about Monday's convoy.
Despite clinging to sticks due to high speeding of these trucks on the bumpy roads of the desert, passengers risk falling off, and when this happens, the truck never stops. When there is a breakdown, the migrants and refugees can die as a result of dehydration and hunger. Some drink their urine in a bid to quench their thirst. There are stories of people who lost their life in desert due to high temperature and scorching sun. In the bandits' territory, migrants and refugees can be robbed and women raped. Some drivers can abandon the migrants and the refugees stranded in the desert. Many young men drive migrants across the desert because of the proceeds, and they usually make the cost of their truck after a few successful trips. The migrants and refugees who made it to Libya will end up staying for months or sometimes never made it to their final destinations. The smugglers further exploited them by making demands of thousands of dollars for them to continue their journey across the Mediterranean Sea. Failure to pay can land the migrants in prison without food, sold as laborers in slave auctions, and abused by captors. Due to weak legal system, a lot of illegal business go on in Libya, and most often culprits go unpunished. Some stranded Nigerians are now working as agents or middlemen in Libya. Some of the victims were rescued by International Organization on Migration and sent to detention camp where they wait for their voluntary deportation back to their home countries. Listen to some of them as they share their experiences with CNN.
Just take us home. No food, no water. Just take us home. Want to go? No food, no water, nothing.
Victory was
I was sold.
What happened?
On my way coming, I was sold. Merciless beating. If you look at most of the people here, if you check their body, you see the mark. They're beating with electric. Even your boot, or they took something like a sharp object. Understand? Most of them lost.
Work by force. Even when we are at the seaside, when we are working the work, they will be beating you. When you are working the work, I'm doing your work. They will be maltreating us. Higher.
Migrants who were able to pay their way through crammed like cargoes on fishing boats or inflatable boats, also known as dinghy, without life jackets, exceeding the capacity of the boat, and sailed through the sea towards the coast of Europe. This is just a nightmare. Most often the boat capsizes and people lose their lives when there is no rescue team around to intervene. This is such a long journey that some ladies give birth to baby on the route or on the sea. There are also mothers who embark on this journey of searching for mirage good life together with their children. Normally, not all migrants are signed with legal documents on arrival. The rescued migrants who made it to the shores of Europe are detained in a camp and interrogated. The process helps to identify and separate the real refugees from the economic migrants. The latter is deported back to their respective countries while the refugee apply for asylum documents. Not all acclaimed refugees qualify for refugee status, therefore not everyone gets the valid documents. Before you jump on the offer of leaving your country, ask questions, dig deeper, and consider carefully the following. What is the point of destabilizing your life, buying debt with your own money, or spending your hard-earned money only for you to go back to your home country after wasting several years of your life abroad? This is because once your case is decided and you are found not eligible to remain in that country, you must be deported, and if you are working illegally, all the proceeds will be seized by the authority. Some people got deported after 5 to 10 years of wasteful years, lost everything, and started afresh. Be careful of job adverts abroad on social media that are too good and juicy to be real, such as hairdressing, shop attendants, waiters, and other menial jobs, which may sometimes end up as scam on arrival. Lots of girls have received a pair of high heel shoes, revealing dresses, and others to walk the streets, selling their bodies for as low as €10 and sleeping in bushes with different kinds of men. The question is, how many men do you want to sleep with before you could offset this whooping sum of 35,000 or €45,000? Therefore, do not jump on job offers without making adequate investigation and asking questions so that you do not become a victim of forced prostitution. Do not be desperate to leave your country because the precarious crossing of Sahara Desert and Mediterranean Sea is full of despair, misery, and uncertainties. Some people have lost their lives without reaching their final destination, and some have been auctioned into slavery in Libya, face torture and great suffering. Remember that illegal migration is now criminalized. The Nigeria government has passed a law making human trafficking illegal. If you have savings, think of a better way to invest your money instead of enriching an idle trafficker, because this is a big risk. You might be saying that you worked for your friends. Why not you? People are different and will never share their secret. Stop risking and gambling with your life. Do not listen to anyone giving you an impression that you cannot make it in your own country. Some of your relatives and friends living abroad work long hours to pay their bills, and they will not share that bit with you. Rather, they only let you know of the rosy part of their lives, how they're enjoying and living their life. Never fall prey or given to false promises. Money is neither picked from the street nor plucked from a tree. If you want to travel abroad, do that legally using legal documents, and also respect immigration rules and laws. With this, I come to the end of this video. Leave your comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumb up and share with your friends and relatives. Subscribe to this channel for more content, and see you in my next one.